Yo, how's everybody doing today? It's Wednesday. I mean, no, it's Thursday. Sorry. It's Thursday, March 16th, 2023. Actually, I need everybody to hit that like button, share and subscribe. Leave a comment if you would like. All right. So what we about to talk about right now is we're gonna get into some sports news real quick here. We're gonna talk about what's been going on in the NFL. We're gonna talk about what's been going on in the NFL. I need to sign into my. Let me sign in the. All right, let me. I'm also live on YouTube at My World Podcast. So look me up on there or message me on how to find it. So, all right, boom. Play this video here.
Happy New Year, everybody. In terms of the NFL league calendar, 4 p.m. Eastern here on this Wednesday. And as we talk about notable free agent contracts, we've known about Derek Carr for quite some time. Jimmy G headed to Las Vegas, reuniting with Josh McDaniels. Niners making a move to get Javon Hargrave. And then
Whoa. Y'all see this? I don't mean to cut the man off, but they got Derek Carr for 4 years. Jimmy Garoppolo for 3 years. Wow. This is a lot. The NFL is gonna go crazy.
him 4 years, $84 million. You see the list as it continues to go here, and we've seen a lot of action already earlier this afternoon and this morning. Back here with our NFL analysts, Brady Quinn and Pete Prisco. I'm Tommy Trent. So we're kind of getting winners and losers, and I get that there's still going to be a few names to come, but we get the gist of what's already happened. And even though it's the start of the year, it's kind of the end of this sort of 2-day process. Pete, I'll start with you. Why don't you give me a winner or two?
Well, I'm going to give you one of my main winners is Justin Fields. I think when you look at what the Bears have done, I mean, Ryan Poles has killed it so far in this offseason. And for starters, he didn't trade away Justin Fields and go draft a 5'10" quarterback, which everybody wanted him to do. And he's keeping Justin Fields. I love that. And then he adds draft picks and capital and DJ Moore. He gives them a weapon on offense. They go out and they sign Nate Davis, as a guard will really help their offensive line. I love what they've done so far. Justin Fields has to love what they've done so far, and I think it's going to be much better for him moving forward as the quarterback of that team.
And they shored up some holes on defense too. So look, they had capital to spend. They had more than anyone coming into the offseason. We knew that was going to be part of this, but I think they're in a similar position to where the Dolphins were maybe a year ago with Tua Tagovailoa and trying to decide whether or not they wanted to invest more in him. I think we've got the answer now. They had the number 1 overall pick. They traded it away. They brought in a receiver, much like the Dolphins did with Tyreek Hill, to maybe find a little bit more about Justin Fields as they move through his rookie contract to see if he is indeed the guy. But Trent Edmonds, great signing along with TJ Edwards, 2 guys that be leaders on that defensive side of the ball. And it's not costing them that much money. So to me, so far, Ryan Poles, and we kind of thought this would be the case coming into the offseason. So far early on, the Bears are winners. It doesn't always mean just because they spend a lot of money, they ended up winning when the season comes around. Although the Jacksonville Jaguars won a lot of games last year, and they were a big spender last offseason.
And each of the last 6 or 7 years, the team that spent the most money has actually improved at least 3 games. So it matters.
So Justin Fields, a winner for you. The Bears for you. It's interesting. You brought up the 2 guys, Edwards and Edmonds there, and they got a second-round pick essentially for a few more $1 million than Roquan Smith. And everyone talks about Roquan Smith when they let go of Robert Quinn or traded for Robert Quinn too.
And the other thing is they're still the top 10. Like they're going to be able to add a great player in the top 10, probably on defense. I would imagine to be best player available at that point.
Jalen Carter's workout didn't help him today.
Maybe he wants to be a Bear. Maybe he's hoping it kind of falls down that way. But the reality is they're still going to get an impact defensive player, most likely, or best available within the top 10, which is huge.
Speaking of linebackers, another winner for you there, Pete.
All the off-the-ball linebackers. We talk about, you mentioned Edmonds, you mentioned TJ Edwards, who I really like. They both can run. And everybody's looking to get that linebacker who can stay on the field 2 downs and run and cover. They watch what the 49ers do. You see Warner and Greenlaw. And so you look at all these guys. They've all signed. Almost all of them, to a T, have signed contracts. They haven't been big contracts, all of them, but they've all been signed. It's been an active market. One of the positions you would normally say, off the ball linebacker, we'll see how that plays out. But no, this market has been very active.
Brady, you got another winner, right?
Yeah, my other winner obviously is the Denver Broncos, and really Russell Wilson in that case. You bring in 2 offensive linemen after spotty protection last year. Now, some of that was on the offensive line. Some of it was on Russell Wilson. Either way, Ben Powers comes in at guard. He's very stout, extremely strong at the point of attack. Mike McGlinchey, my guy at Notre Dame, that Pete tries to take shots at.
He's a good player.
The reality is he'll be much improved from what they had last year at the right tackle spot. So shoring up that offensive line, and for a guy who, again, is of shorter stature and trying to play from the pocket, when you look at what Sean Payton did with Drew Brees in New Orleans, once they got that offensive line shored up, you really saw what they were capable of, especially in the passing game. I think it's a very similar script Sean Payton is going by right now and building up the offensive line for the Broncos.
Jari Evans and Carl Nix. Remember, they were the 2 guards on that team, and they kept them stout in the middle. And you don't like that You can't
have guys as a shorter quarterback pushing your lap. It makes it even harder to see over, and it's already difficult as it is.
How about the run game? Samaje Perine. We know Javonte Williams coming back from injury. What do you think about the prospects there quickly, Brady?
It was interesting with Perine. I thought maybe they'd be a little more patient with the running back signing. But look, Perine is a consummate pro. The guy's great in pass protection. He's a very capable runner. He can stay on the field for all 3 downs. Now, he's not necessarily a home run hitter, but the reality is you plug him back there. You don't worry about fumbles. You don't worry about any issues. You're going to get a solid pro back there. So another piece.
Draft is loaded with backs too this year.
Yeah, that was the only bit of a surprise.
Right,
I'm sure they could add
Zach Allen, by the way, is a great signing. That's a
really
a big
one
signing.
All right, so those are look at a couple of winners for each of these fine gentlemen. How about losers, or in Pete's case, losers?
Losers, the Arizona Cardinals. I do not like what they've done. They let some good players, Zach Allen being one of them, go out the door. Byron Murphy, their number 1 corner, out the door. And so there's concerns there. And how do you fill that? You have a quarterback coming off a major knee injury, and then you have a new staff and a new coach. Very young staff. That's not to say they're not good, but they're a very young, inexperienced staff. So I did not like what they've done so far.
And potentially still could be moving on from DeAndre Hopkins as well, which will be interesting to keep
Which would make sense the way they're handling
it. It would. I mean, it feels like they're maybe more in a rebuild mode around Kyler Murray, which makes things interesting to how he's going to be viewed moving forward. But bottom line is the Cardinals could definitely be one of those teams. I went with the Colts. And look, you got a new head coach, Shane Steichen's there. It feels like they're in a bit more.
Let's go Colts. That's my team.
You trade away a great player in Stephon Gilmore, who really fits Dan Quinn's scheme defensively. I think he's going to play great opposite of Trayvon Diggs down there. And you didn't get a ton back in return. And I understand that sometimes happens when you just need to get rid of a guy and clean up some cap space. But it's tough to get a sense that this team's going to be able to compete the way they need to, I think, in order to beat a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars within their division.
it's been interesting because for so many years they've gone the veteran route at quarterback because they were in win now mode. Then they're in a position to actually take maybe CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, and then Carolina leapfrogs them, giving them no inside track into having at least the control of their destiny if they can't move up.
Keep an eye on Indy, though. I think if there's a team to move up to number
I think
one,
they moved, or they might make a move, and you hear all over the league that they love Will Levis.
and that could be the case. But I would keep an eye on Indy.
But Carolina likes Will
I
Levis
think
too.
Jim Irsay is the type of owner too
Yeah.
that would be aggressive. The only other question though is, do you maybe wait and see if you can get through this season for what's
What if
coming
they-
next year? in the
If they
draft?
don't go to 1 and they wait and maybe move up to 3 to get Arizona's pick and ensure that they get a quarterback that way.
The only concern I have is there's going to be other teams looking to
Yeah,
trade up, I think,
absolutely.
with number 3. I mean, it could be Seattle at this point, given that now that we see the details of the Geno Smith contract, it's really a 1-year deal.
Right.
And then we'll see. There's other teams. Atlanta, I still have a hard time believing this is what they're going to go into the season with Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ritter. I think they'd want to add someone to that group. A number of teams could still be in the mix.
You're fading the Colts, also fading Rams here, Brady?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think someone has to discuss the fact that I get it. They won a Super Bowl, all right, a couple years ago, but this is now, unfortunately, the penalty they have to pay for what it costs. We had that whole, strategy of saying F them picks, I think is how Les Snead would say it. Well, now you need them because now you're in cap hell and you have to get rid of one of your best players in Jalen Ramsey. And so we do have to acknowledge the fact that they put themselves here. Yes, they brought a championship, but a year or two removed from now, no one's going to be talking about that. It's a what have you done for me lately league. So the Rams
I disagree. They sold their soul and they got it. If they
Well,
didn't get it,
that's fine,
then it would
but
be a major problem.
Here's the problem. If they don't make it back to,
Right.
people move on from that Super Bowl pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
McVay, I mean, that was the topic
How
of
many
him coming
teams in
back.
this league would sell their soul for one? Just one. All of them.
You say that, but again, every
ones that don't have one.
single team. Aaron Rodgers brought the Green Bay Packers to
The
the Super
Jets,
Bowl.
the Jets are going to sell their soul for one, trying to get one right now.
They're trying to do one right now.
Absolutely.
But you know who's not? Not the Green Bay Packers.
No. Well, they won one before.
They
and
did,
many
but
before.
it's been a little while.
It's been a while. It's
Got
been
a
while.
second team there, Pete?
Yeah, mine's the Jaguars. I do not like the fact they let their right tackle go out the door. And they'll say, okay, well, you have Walker Little, you have Cam Robinson, you don't need to have him. Well, Walker Little competed with Jawan Taylor at right tackle last year, lost the job, went to left tackle, played really well. So if they're going to move Cam Robinson over to the right side, he's always said, I'm not a right tackle. That's going to be a problem as well. So I think they weakened themselves by allowing him to leave. I would have kept him because you know why? Defense isn't that good. Build it around that quarterback. Be the best offense you can possibly be. Score a ton of points. That's what I would have done. And I pinged them for that. They also lost Arden Key, who's a good football player.
They can replace that with Frank Clark. We talked about that earlier. But the tackle class in this year's draft, I think there's a number that the Jaguars will be targeting. I would not be shocked at all if they didn't go after a tackle if they don't get one in free agency.
Trent Baalke had a really nice offseason last year, hitting on all of his
He had a
guys.
great
So
offseason.
seeing him
Yeah.
this year, maybe a little bit of collateral going into the decisions. But you do question Jennings
They have
and Foles
cap.
going
They
there.
have cap problems
Yeah.
now too.
Yeah.
I mean, you spend all that money 1 year, you're gonna have cap problems.
Well, let's finish up.
You're going to have more than the Trevor Lawrence an extension.
Right.
So.
Guys that got the tag there, of course, we had the franchise tag deadline not too long ago. Yeah, curiously enough, too, mostly all the non-exclusive variety. We know Payne did end up getting that deal already in an extension. So a lot of running backs. Talked about Jacksonville and Evan Ingram, one of the guys that Baalke did hit in the offseason last year. But, of course, it still remains with Lamar Jackson. And then shortly after he got the tag, guys, it was all of a sudden, like within the first 15 minutes, a handful of teams are out, teams that need quarterbacks. The dust has settled slightly, Brady. But what are we thoughts here and how it all shakes out for Lamar Jackson?
Not good. I mean, the reality is the best case scenario, they would put the exclusive franchise tag on you and maybe you'd spend a little more time trying to negotiate a long-term deal. In this case, I don't think he's going to get the offer sheet that he's looking for and one that's not going to surpass a 3-year fully guaranteed deal of $133 million. If you look at the guaranteed at signing, that put him second in the league. In league history, for that matter, as far as guarantees at signing. So I know he doesn't have an agent, and he's kind of bragging about the fact that he doesn't need one to get that deal, but maybe you need an agent to tell you that's a good deal because 2 years from now, you get another bite at the apple, and you're going to have guys like Joe Burrow who've done their deal, Justin Herbert who've done their deal, and other quarterbacks that if you prove yourself, you're going to be able to leapfrog those guys. He unfortunately is coming off 2 years. He didn't finish healthy, and he's regressed passing since that MVP season. So the truth of the matter is this is not the time that he's got as much leverage as I think he thinks he has. Even though he's got a great record as a starter, there's a lot of things that play into that.
Quarterback wins is not a stat. Can we wipe that away, please? It's never been a stat. It's a team stat number. I think when you look at him, the guaranteed money, if he played on the tag 3 years in a row, which is possible, you could
He wouldn't have made as much.
Right. So take the contract, take the $133 million. I mean, it's guaranteed money, and it could go up to 175 for injury
Right,
as well.
with bonuses,
So take the money. I don't understand what he's doing because there's not going to be a guaranteed deal out there. If he thinks he's getting a Deshaun Watson deal, that's not out there. You talk to people around the league, they say, no, 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 no. Nobody's going to do that because then it opens up everybody else to get one. So I ultimately think he's going back and taking the deal from the Ravens. Here's the other thing. He ain't sitting out either. All this talk, if they don't get the deal done, he's not going to play for the tag. He's made $32 million in his career so far. He's going to sit out and not make another $32 million? I don't think so.
I found that hard to believe as well. I mean, again, there's a lot of equity this team has put into him. They've built things around him. They have a new offensive coordinator in Todd Monken. I have a hard time.
How are you doing today?
Make up and make good. He doesn't sign a long-term extension.
But that will be bad if he does decide to sit out all the offseason work.
So it doesn't.
No, but I'm saying if he sits out all the offseason and doesn't get the work in with Todd Monken and the new offense, that's not good for the Ravens either.
No.
Him being that late first-round pick in 2018 is why the money doesn't match up with like a Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, and even Rosen, who were taken in the top 10. All right, we got to take a quick break, but before we do, remind everybody about the Pick Six podcast, where in the last edition, Brady was with Will Brinson, Katie Mox, and John Breach talking about free agency recaps, good stories, and more, about an hour long. Make sure to scan that QR code and check those guys out today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis? No yelling, no fake.
So I guess that was just free agency. We're going to talk about what trades happened. That was just free agency. Hold on. Let's talk about this one. Since I live here in Wisconsin, we're going to talk
when I came out of the darkness, something changed. I'm not exactly sure what that was, but something changed. And I got back to my phone after 5 days off of it, because your phone's not on the entire time. There's no Wi-Fi on that, hippie mountain. And when I got back to that little shack they have where there's one bar of Wi-Fi, and got back to the, hundreds of text messages and emails and all different things, I realized that there'd been a little bit of a shift. And that I heard from multiple people that I trust around the league, players mostly, that there was some shopping going on, that they were interested in actually moving me. And at this point, I got to admit, I went in the darkness, 90% retiring, 10% playing. That's where my mind was. My mind was, I'm tired of this. I hadn't got back into my workouts yet, and I thought that was what was best for me. So I went in the darkness to contemplate a lot of different things. But one day I spent entirely on the reality I was retired, and one day I spent entirely on the reality that I was coming back and playing. And just really sat with that for hours and hours, what that looked like, what the reality is, how that all felt. And when I came out, I was really interested in what the kind of landscape was, where Green Bay was at. And obviously, if I wanted to play, what were the options? So it was clear to me at that point that although the Packers were going to say the right thing publicly, that they were ready to move on. And again, I don't know what changed that or what moved that. If they just said, hey, we need to make a decision here because he hasn't made a decision yet. Again, there's no victims here. I'm not sitting here as a victim. I love Green Bay. I love the fan base. They're incredible. I lived for playing for them and for Lambeau. A lot of love for the organization. I just think I wish that in the beginning of the offseason, that had been the conversation, because I love direct communication. If they had just said, listen, we think it's time to move in a different direction, and we love you, and you're going to be a Packer Hall of Famer, you're going to go in the Hall as a Packer, we're going to retire your number, whatever it might be, but it's time to move on. I would have said, man, thank you so much just for telling me that. Like, I really, really appreciate that. That means the world to me that you would tell me that, because I really believe that's the sentiment, and that's fine. It really is. It's totally fine. This is an incredible profession, but it's a tough business for sure.
You've said that for a long time, Aaron. You've said that for a long time.
Some of these issues were things I was talking about 2 years ago. It was how do we treat older players on the way out, and it's ironic that now I'm that player. But I think that's the beauty in life is the sense of humor that the universe has. But so I'm no malice, no bitterness towards the Packers. It's been bittersweet for sure the last 10 days. So I've shifted my focus to entertaining, what the plane would look like, and had the Packers granted obviously permission for the Jets to come out and visit. We had a nice visit. They decided to leave their cars in the street, which attracted paparazzi attention, which got a few of them photographed, which I thought was pretty funny. But
Made a couple of mistakes early.
But we had a nice conversation, and I told them, listen, I'm not ready to make a decision about anything. I want to get back into my workouts and see how it feels. To really hit it hard for a week. I've obviously been working out before that, but to really hit it hard for a week and to see if the drive and the passion is still there, and then I'll see where we're at. And so again, this is why this is not a decision here. The decision I think was made in my mind whether or not I was able to admit at that point. Really on that Tuesday, I wanted to play, and then it was how is my body feeling? Is it going to be able to hold up? So at this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Okay.
And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get for me, and kind of digging their heels in. So I would just, I think it is interesting at this point to step back and look at the whole picture. My side, love and appreciation, gratitude for everything that Green Bay has done for me. So much love and gratitude, and just heart open for the Packer fans and what it's meant to be their quarterback. And also the reality of the situation, like it is what it is. The Packers would like to move on. They've let me know that in so many words. They've let other people know that in direct words. And because I still have that fire, and I want to play, and I would like to play in New York, it's just a matter of getting that done at this point.
Okay, people in New York are doing this right now. Yeah. People in New York are pumped right now, and I appreciate you laying it all out there. I appreciate you detailing your side of it, why you feel the way you feel. Now, obviously, there's like 400,000 plus people watching. Not everybody will get to hear that. I hope everybody gets a chance to hear why you are in the position that you're in, and also why you chose to come on here today, because there's a lot of drama allegedly being built by you, dragging this out. Is this guy doing this? Because the last we had heard, although you made your decision on Friday, the last we had heard is you were contemplating still wanting to play, or do you want to play for the Jets, or do you want to play for another team? So you giving your side of it, I think, lets a lot of people that are maybe hating know, like, yo, let's understand that there's a whole nother layer to this, which is how all the insiders have been talking about it. That layer, are you involved in that process at all with what the compensation is? Are you completely hands off of that and you're just along for the ride with everybody else? Or how active have you been in the whole process here, Aaron?
Pretty hands off of that, honestly. I've just been focused on working out and, taking care of my business out here. I obviously have an agent, and the GMs have been talking, I'm sure, about that. At this point, like I said, it's my intention to play for the Jets, but I'm still under contract with the Packers. So.
Yeah, they got no leverage either. I don't know how many people are watching. They're trying to compare this to the Matthew Stafford situation. Matthew Stafford, a part of the trade and what they gave up was because they were taking on Jared Goff's contract that was massive. Your contract would be leaving the team, so take that out of the leverage pool. And also, they've pretty much put them in a position contractually with Jordan Love, because they have to decide whether or not they're going to pick up the fifth year. They made this decision by drafting Jordan Love that everybody else knows that they're going to another quarterback anyways, and they don't want it on the book. So it's a vastly different leverage situation. I think we all just assumed that would have got done. I think that's why we were all thinking that it was you. Has this surprised you a little bit as well, or no?
I mean, not really, honestly.
Oh, okay. Why not?
Well, neurons.
Well, listen, I think, my plea is, and I would say this is debatable, but I'm debatably the best player in franchise history. I'm in the conversation for sure.
That was awesome.
What's not debatable is I'm the longest tenured Packer in history. Like, you can debate the first part, obviously. Bart, Brett, a number of names have been incredible.
Whoa.
But you can't debate anybody who's been there longer than I have. and nobody has bled green and gold like me. I mean, I love that city. I love those fans. I love that region. And I've never been a free agent. I've never even got there. Yeah, the team has done it, but I've never said, you know what, let me test free agency here. Like, cause I want to, I kind of want to get out of here. Like this weather or, whatever it might be. Just, I need a new, it was never that. Never that. I loved Green Bay. I do love Green Bay. I mean, I love the people. I love going to Chives and seeing my buddy Logan. I love India Bob Vaughn now. Incredible Indian spot in town.
Hell yeah. That's good.
I love my boy Rob at Frame Makers. I love so many people in that town. So many people that work at the organization, and I love our fans, man. We got a great fan base. I mean, it was never about that. Now it's about the reality situation. And I think there's probably people who are really wanting to move on, and I get it. I'm not upset about it. I have nothing but love in my heart for every Packer fan and everybody that works in the organization. My life is better because of my time in Green Bay. But we just got to look at the reality. They want to move on. They don't want me to come back, and that's fine. They're ready to move on with Jordan. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Jordan's going to be a great player. He's a fucking great kid. He had a really good year this year, getting better, on the look team. He's got a bright future in front of him. They got a good young team. I got so many great friends on that team that I'm still going to be great friends with. But the fact of the matter is, like, you got a aging, face of the franchise for the last 15 years that it's time to do right by. And let's just listen to your language. Mark Murphy said it the other day, right?
Had a great career. Yeah. If the only way Aaron would be the quarterback is if what we want to happen obviously doesn't happen. So that's what he actually said publicly, which I think you said if he would have told you that before you were going into this process, you wouldn't have been so offended by it all. I think when you laid it all.
Honestly, I wasn't offended by it at all. I'm not offended.
No. But like the miscommunication wise, he didn't tell you that was the case. They told you take your time. And then when you came out of the darkness, it was like a different message. And you said this has kind of been an issue with Green Bay alum for a long time. It's like how you handle the whole next.
We're just look at the track record from the guy sitting over there to
all-time leading tackler.
What happened with Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb and Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Brett Good, on and on and on. There's just a way of doing things that you don't want to bring him back. That's fine. It's a business, but there's a way of doing it that allows the man to keep the dignity. And honestly, that's some of the stuff I was fighting for a couple of years ago. Like, how can we do this a little bit better? If we want to be about family and want to be about love and taking care of our people, like let's put our actions where our words at. Because it's really important to me. That part is important. Now I'm the person, and look, I'm not offended by any of this. I'm not a victim by any of this. I don't have that mentality. I have nothing but love and appreciation. It's been bittersweet. Like, coming to this reality has been really bittersweet because I was drafted by Green Bay. I fucking love that city, love that organization, and always going to have love for that organization. But the facts are right now, they want to move on.
Oh my God, it's right there. You see it.
And now so do I.
Hey, do you see it? AJ, do you see you see what's like?
Chips are stacking up the chips. That's right. Stacking the chips on your shoulder. We know that. Hey, quick, let's say you came out of the darkness retreat, as you said, what, 5 days, 4 nights, I believe, long time in there, very long time. Say you check your phone in Green Bay.
Hello. My Ice Ace. I don't know how to say that. How you doing today? Oh man, let me find out the Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts have made what I would say is the expected decision informing Matt Ryan of his release. And obviously the starter last year
Iceman,
got
what's up?
benched. The Colts have essentially moved on from him, and now they made it official today. New coach Shane Steichen expected to have a new quarterback, and obviously this
Melissa, what's up?
Financial implication.
How you guys doing today?
About $17 million against the cap, which is good news for the Indianapolis Colts to get a little bit of breathing room there. Listen to this. As part of that trade, when he came over originally from the
you
Atlanta
get
Falcons.
blocked,
His
bro?
agent, Todd Franz of Athletes First, negotiated a new contract that included $12 million guaranteed in
I'm doing good.
2023. That was
How are you
not
doing
in the
today?
previous contract. So Matt Ryan gets that $12 million regardless of what he decides to do this season. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers also had some quarterback news. They're expected
He's
to
doing some
sign
podcast
Andy
stuff right
Dalton
now on
to a
YouTube.
1-year, $10 million contract, essentially as the bridge quarterback slash backup slash mentor to whoever the Carolina Panthers, who now, of
Thank you
course,
for the
have the
favor.
#1 overall selection, to whoever they pick. But Andy Dalton lands with the Carolina Panthers.
All right, the Panthers looking to benefit from having a veteran presence in that quarterback room. Thank you, Ian. Yammer, over to you.
Going
All
on.
right, MJ. Time to have a little fun here. A little free agency chaos. The wheel of chaos. You haven't played this before, right?
First time.
First time.
First
All right.
timer.
Rookie. Well,
Yeah.
you're fast enough. I'm
Yeah.
sure you're going to be able
Okay.
to catch
How
up.
fast we got to be?
Not overly
Not too fast.
concerned here. All right, we'll spin the wheel of chaos, and wherever it lands, Mark, you're up first.
Okay.
Cool.
What do you
All right, let's see. All right, let's circle back on this Colts squad here. All right, here's the conundrum. You're picking fourth, which by
Thank
all
you for the
accounts, I
hearts.
think in the NFL draft would be a good
Appreciate
spot.
it.
But you need a quarterback here. First two teams, you got to assume Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, no particular order, off the board. What do you do afterwards?
Come on, Mark. Don't reach. Don't reach.
Okay.
Don't reach.
I like
Don't reach. So Chris Ballard has shown this organization that he's not going to be forced to take a quarterback. It's been a long time. For better or for worse, they got a lot of guys running in and out of there, and they haven't taken anyone high. So I would think he's going to stick with that same plan. If he's not in love with a project like the Richardsons and Levises of the world, he's not going to be forced to just say, I got to take one of these guys, especially if he has reassurances from the ownership to say, okay, this is the plan. Let's stick with
the owner likes somebody, man.
But if the owner does like him,
He gets
you got to see. Now, the Colts have to play someone.
You gotta play a quarterback.
They got to get one of these veterans. They might be struggling. But there's a big fish out there next year. We won't talk about that guy right now.
No. By the way, if you get a phone call, you bouncing?
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah,
Andy, who knows? I'm a free agent. Let's go.
we were Someone came prepared. The list, by the way, is dwindling. Just that's why I asked. In case maybe you're interested. All right, let's spin it here. Still got it. So on Friday, more than a dozen teams checking out the workout of OBJ. We saw the video on social media, the one-handed grabs. Certainly impressive. Does he still have it?
Well, talk about spice. This is spicy. Yeah. This is what I like. Listen, he definitely still has it, and it's all about how he positions himself, right? So, like, I don't know if he can go into a team and be a #1 guy from the get-go. He didn't play at all last year, right? He was rehabbing his knee, getting healthy, but he did spark that Super Bowl run for the Rams. So big-time plays came from a big-time player. So the best fit, I think, for him, listen now, the star, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And we've talked a lot about it. Line up next to CeeDee Lamb on the other side, gives them a great 1-2 punch. Dak's going to love it. And the persona of wearing the star on your helmet fits him just right.
Love it. I love that shit.
Yeah,
Love it.
you
Love it.
had him in Dallas.
I had him in Dallas yesterday. I don't know. I don't know. It's all about that. Yeah, it's too much. We're just spinning the wheel right now.
Let's spin the wheel here. By the way, I'm Robin. In the NFC East, we all know it's now officially the G-Men. All right, Russ cooking. All right, a little bit up front.
Jen Koski, man, why you do me like that, Koski? You knew I was gonna
No. It's the wheel of chaos. It's random. It just happened to fall to you. So he's got some big bodies. A little bit of a spending spree up front here. How much does this help Russell Wilson?
I mean, it helps him. I mean, he's a quarterback, right? So it's going to help your quarterback to get quality blockers in front of him. I think having Sean Payton, who was a quarterback whisperer and all of those things, I think it's going to help Russell Wilson. But Russell's going to need help and needs to mend fences in the locker room, as far as I'm concerned. And just what I hear from guys in the locker room and things like that, especially when you ask guys in that locker room about Russell, there's always a breath first. They kind of sink, and then they go, yeah, he's a hard worker, man. That's my guy. And so, but and all of that. Whenever I hear, teammates say things like that about guys, that means there's some mending of some fences that has to happen. But Russell, you had 16 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions. You just got to play better, and I think he will.
I'm
like Rob spilling the tea so Russ can cook. You spilling tea on
Yeah, I like how you did that. I didn't spill no damn tea, Mark. Don't be doing that to me over here, man.
By the way, when anyone asks me about you, there's so many great things that I need to gather myself and then upload on all the great superlatives.
There's a butt.
The Indianapolis Colts have made what I would say is the expected decision informing Matt Ryan of his release. And obviously the starter last year got benched. The Colts have essentially moved on from him, and now they made it official today. New coach Shane Steichen expected to have a new quarterback, and obviously this has significant financial implication. First of all, saves about $17 million against the cap, which is good news for the Indianapolis Colts to get a little bit of breathing room there. Listen to this. As part of that trade, when he came over originally from the Atlanta Falcons, his agent Todd Franz of Athletes First negotiated a new contract that included $12 million guaranteed in 2023 that was not in the previous contract. So Matt Ryan gets that $12 million regardless of what he decides to do this season. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers also had some quarterback news. They're expected to sign Andy Dalton to a one-year, $10 million contract, essentially as the bridge quarterback / backup / mentor to whoever the Carolina Panthers, who now, of course, have the #1 overall selection, to whoever they pick. But Andy Dalton lands with the Carolina Panthers.
All right, the Panthers looking to benefit from having a veteran presence in that quarterback room. Thank you, Ian. Yammer, over to you.
All right, MJ. Time to have a little fun here. A little free agency chaos. The wheel of chaos. You haven't played this before, right?
First time.
First time.
First
All
timer.
right. Rookie. Well, you're fast enough. I'm sure you're going to be able to catch up.
How fast we got to be?
Not overly
Not too fast.
concerned here. All right, we'll spin the wheel of chaos, and wherever it lands, Mark, you're up first.
Okay.
Cool.
What do you
All right, let's see. All right, let's circle back on this Colts squad here. All right, here's the conundrum. You're picking fourth, which by all accounts you would think in the NFL draft would be a good spot, but you need a quarterback here. First two teams, you got to assume Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, no particular order, off the board. What do you do at 4?
What we got? Come on, Mark. What we
Don't
got?
reach. Don't reach.
Okay.
You know,
Gonna get
reach.
spicy today, man. I like it.
Don't reach. So Chris Ballard has shown this organization that he's not going to be forced to take a quarterback. It's been a long time. For better or for worse, they got a lot of guys running in and out of there, and they haven't taken anyone high. So I would think he's going to stick with that same plan. If he's not in love with a project like the Richardsons and Levises of the world, he's not going to be forced to just say, I got to take one of these guys, especially if he has reassurances from the ownership to say, okay, this is the plan. Let's stick with
The owner likes somebody, man.
If the owner does like him,
He gets
you got to see. Now, the Colts have to play someone.
You gotta play a quarterback.
They got to get one of these veterans. They might be struggling. But there's a big fish out there next year. We won't talk about that guy right now.
No. By the way, if you get a phone call, you bouncing?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
Andy, who knows? I'm a free agent. Let's go.
we were
mean?
Dudes. Because you're getting better as a football team.
But are you getting better in the way you need to be getting better?
Short-term deals.
Why? Why do you
Short-term
want a 30-year-old linebacker who's not going to be a part of your
Progress.
organization when you're actually winning games?
You want to take the steps. You want to take the steps.
You want to take steps to win 5 games, then you're like, oh, well, now we still have to rebuild our entire roster. Go young.
Short-term deals.
Go young. No.
You can get the
Quit
free
playing.
agency is when you bring veterans in. The draft is when you bring the young guys
Don't
in.
sign 30-year-old dudes when you're rebuilding. That's a bad roster decision.
Maybe they're tired of rebuilding. They've been rebuilding the past 3
Adding
years.
Denzel Perryman doesn't help you get significantly better. You're adding mediocre veterans.
Look, the Texans have been so bad the last couple of years. If the Texans win 6 games this year, Houston fans are going to be thrilled. So
that doesn't mean it's
that you take steps.
You shouldn't be signing guys to win 6 games. This is just like going after Kevin Pierre-Louis again. Take a linebacker, draft somebody. Quit spending money and not getting comp picks back. Like it's adding guys like Mike Boone doesn't make sense to me. You're getting a known quantity of average.
I'm not disagreeing on a guy like Mike Boone.
All of these moves, like a couple of defenders like Jimmy Ward, I'm fine with because it's still somewhat young and he knows the defense, so I'm open to that. But like, you're signing guys like Noah Brown, okay? Why? Well, you're adding guys like Mike Boone.
I don't hate the Noah Brown. Robert Woods. Did you at least like Robert Woods?
That one is okay.
Okay.
But adding both of them, like, doesn't make sense. Like Sheldon Rankins. Why did you spend $12 million on Sheldon Rankins?
Yeah, I hear you.
That's bad. Or 10 million, whatever the figure was. That's just bad business.
We appreciate the super chat, MAB squad. It's another beer. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh man, we got Nick Westbrook-Ikhine re-signing with the Tennessee Titans. So that receiver room certainly has a lot of questions, but they're bringing back a Nick Westbrook-Ikhine.
He's been one of their backups, kind of third, fourth. He's their Noah Brown.
Yeah,
that's what he is for you.
Mark says it's amateur.
It's a matter.
It's a matter. Oh yeah, a matter of just improving on what we got. OBJ would be a much better option, upgrade over Noah. Will Gallup revert to his old form with rest, Tom?
If they have other people out there, though, that could be better than Odell Beckham,
Yo. Hold on.
outright this. So hopefully that does end up happening there.
We have another $5 super chat from Andri224 saying, hi, sorry for my English. I am from Italy. Well, welcome. We appreciate it. Nothing is done on the offensive line to protect Tua. Well, you're
Well, all right. So that's what I got for sports so far. So no sports talk. Let's talk about something else. We're gonna talk about something else. Let's see. Let me get some other. Let me see. Oh yeah, definitely need to talk. Guess this happened in Houston, Texas. So hold on. Let me get the. Let me share the. Cause this is crazy. What happened here? I'm gonna talk about this. Talk about this situation.
Is demanding answers tonight after she says her 6-year-old son was repeatedly sexually assaulted while riding the school bus. An investigation is underway right now in Aldine ISD. ABC 13's Maya Shea joins us live with these serious allegations, Maya.
Yeah, these allegations are so disturbing, and the mother says she believed it's gone on for several months, but it wasn't until her son lost his backpack last week and she called here at the transportation department to get to the bottom of this missing backpack that everything came out into the open.
This is messed up.
Latoya Stormy Monroe is devastated. She says she had no idea that her 6-year-old son was being sexually assaulted on the school bus.
I feel like as a parent, I failed my child. It hurts. I didn't protect him. I don't know what to do.
Monroe was joined by community activists today in front of the Aldine bus barn to discuss what they believe happened, that over the past several months, an older child would repeatedly molest and sexually assault Monroe's son on the bus, and that the bus driver didn't notice.
According to the investigator, the bus driver stopped the bus because she thought they were fighting on the back of the bus, but this mother's child was fighting because he was being raped.
Monroe says everything came to light last Tuesday when efforts to track down her son's missing backpack led school officials to look at surveillance video on the bus. Then she got a call.
I get to the school and I find out that my son was sexually assaulted. Days of questioning, days of talking to my child, the details became more and more graphic each and every time.
Since then, her son has been treated at the hospital and they've spoken to investigators. In a statement, the district says in part, an investigation by Aldine ISD police and district officials immediately began on Wednesday, February 1st. CPS was notified. Once the investigation has concluded, appropriate action will be taken based on investigation findings. Meanwhile, Monroe says her son doesn't even fully understand what happened.
He's not really at his age understanding the magnitude. He actually really stated that why couldn't this kid be given a second chance? If God gives second chances, why couldn't the perpetrator?
Monroe says she hopes her speaking out today will get her answers and justice for her son.
A Houston mother is demanding answers tonight after she says her 6-year-old son was repeatedly sexually assaulted while riding the school bus. An investigation is underway right now in Aldine.